is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Barnetta and I make videos about minimalism, positivity, and life in general. So if you like things like that, please subscribe because I would love to have you be a member of this community. And speaking of community, guys, I just want to give a big shout out and thank you to anyone who has ever liked, viewed, commented, or sent me a message of encouragement because you all make my day every single day. And I started this channel thinking I'd have maybe only one person watch, and somehow there are over 2,200 of you. So thank you so much for supporting me and just being totally amazing. And now let's get right into this video topic. And side note, I know I look a little fresh-faced, as we can call it. I'm going to the gym, but I really felt inspired and I wanted to make this video for you. So here I am, and this channel isn't about me looking awesome. It's more about us just connecting and talking about real authentic things, especially when it comes to trying to live a more minimal life. So if you haven't watched my last video, which is the dangers of minimalism and how sometimes oversimplifying can actually make things more complicated, I think you should watch that right before you watch this one. So pause me, open a new tab, watch that video. I will be here when you get back because today's video is really about that topic of how getting rid of some things is just too much and you might actually lose a big part of yourself when you get rid of it. So it's almost this catch-22 side of minimalism that it is inherently wonderful because you find yourself through getting rid of things, but then sometimes you might also cut off a big part of what makes you you. So for me, if you have watched my journey to minimalism video, I talk about how I had a whole room full of art supplies and craft supplies. I had a closet full of that room, my whole desk was filled, and essentially it felt like this hoard of things that were just weighing down on me, and like I wasn't even using them regularly, and they really seemed to not fit my life anymore because I am a 9-to-5 designer by trade, and I thought that essentially I didn't have time to create art on the nights and the weekends. And because of that, I ended up donating almost all of my art supplies. I actually think pretty much all of them. I had maybe a couple of notebooks left, but I used those mostly for YouTube video ideas or just writing down notes in general and didn't use them for sketching or anything. So now I'm coming up on almost my year anniversary with minimalism, so that would be this December when I feel like I truly started, and I had a really big revelation. I think that when I first started getting rid of a lot of my things, I was in some sort of creative burnout because I was spending my entire workday focusing on art, and I didn't feel like I had the energy to continue creating, like I said, after hours, and I misinterpreted that creative burnout as me being disinterested in those supplies. So I got rid of all of them, and it was almost this too much all or nothing black or white scenario. And I really wanted this video to be both a word of caution and encouragement, because if you're new to this movement, just remember that you really want to be reflective on what makes you a person, and then recognize that sometimes the bare minimum is not what's going to make you more receptive to who you are or happier. We all do need things that keep us comfortable and happy and allow us to be who we truly are. So when you are decluttering, try and focus on the things that maybe you shouldn't get rid of right away. There are sometimes parts of us that we slightly shut down, maybe because we've lost ourselves a little bit, and for me that was art, and I truly do at this point regret getting rid of some of those items, but at the same time, minimalism did help me figure out how important those things were. You really can live a more minimal life, but you also have to be extremely receptive to what makes you you, and you never want to cut off that part of yourself. And thank God I've been able to have this channel and have this creative outlet that I didn't necessarily lose that entire creative side of myself, but just having no method to get out my inspiration and ideas on paper, I think that was a huge disservice to what makes me, which is being an artist. So if you have something that makes you feel alive, or a hobby maybe that you used to do and you haven't done it recently, I guess what I'm saying is don't get rid of that in your first sweep. Get rid of the basic junk, the basic clutter. I've said this in videos past, but for some reason, I just had this recent revelation of how important that bit of knowledge is. And again, I'll say it, I've said it so many times, just because you have something that is your hobby and you might have to have a little bit more of those supplies because of that, it doesn't mean you're not a minimalist. If anything, you're actually living a more authentic life. Again, I never want to be in that place where I have absolutely no art supplies, because that's just not me. And now that I have these new supplies, I feel like I can put them on display and use them every day and get a ton of joy out of it and not as much guilt as I used to. And again, it is all things in moderation, even moderation itself. I used to have that room where I was cut off from my fiance CJ if I was in there, and it was lonely in a lot of ways. So now, rather than having that room that's tucked away and closed and the closet that's filled to the brim, I just have really what I need, and I can keep all of those supplies out in the open so I can use them daily. I am working on a nice method to figure out how to display them. We have such a small place. I don't have a dedicated desk area or anything yet, so when I figure out how I want to display them, I will definitely share that with you guys. But until then, my piece of knowledge and meditation for today is really, what makes you you, and what do you think you shouldn't get rid of in minimizing? Also, is there anything that you have gotten rid of that you regret when you've gone through your minimalist journey? I would love to hear that. And thank you again for watching. You guys really do make my day. I mean it. And I will see you in the next one. And until then, remember that there is no one like you. You are loved and you are beautiful inside and out. I will see you guys later. Bye.